All right, morning everyone. With Saturday Shenanigans. We got Curtis, PE turned RE, and we welcome back Joe Farrell, the legend, according to his Facebook post. But welcome, fellas.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. So Joe, why don't you quickly maybe give everyone an update or your backstory and what have you been doing? Because maybe some of the people tuning in right now are not sure who you are.
Yeah, well, first off, me and Mark, we connected, I guess it was like fall of 2023. And fast forward the clock 6 months, then we got the infamous Hamu clip hit me up. And then that went viral. Like 13 people watched it. It was amazingly viral. No, but Strive 25, it's one of the platforms, podcasts, all about increasing income. Save 25%, have options to invest. So have those channels, and then my day job is mortgage. So it's been unusual times. And the legend comment, I put that out there. Long story short, because every single transaction coming through my way, through my desk, is just crazy. I mean, 1099, 1099 borrowers, bank statements, self-employed, DSCR, 580 credit score, renovation loan, 580 credit score, down payment assistance, just twists and turns. And I got one approved that was a 490 credit score with some cosigners on a conventional loan. But just the people that are ready to make a move, hitting roadblocks and just figuring out solutions. That's just been my world.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of social media stuff. I've been seeing you post a lot of like solution things, helping out a lot of people. So
Yeah.
we'll dig into that also. But Curtis, why don't you give an update, maybe what you've been doing? I saw you post something on social media. Did the event happen already, or?
Yeah. So the event was Thursday. How not to get scammed. A group I help host events over here in Tacoma. We had a title company come through. We had a contractor, and then we had someone in the business world come through, talk about all the common scams that they've seen over the last few years and kind of things to like watch out for, and how you can get ahead of it. It's not like a foolproof plan, right? But just kind of tips and tricks.
Yeah, also maybe hopefully I know Frank messaged me earlier, but Joel said there were some tornadoes that went through the area. So hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully Frank's properties and anyone else or anyone's safe. So hopefully we can get an update on that. But yeah, I mean, so I think this maybe kind of led into your topic you want to talk about, maybe Curtis. So Curtis, kind of recommended maybe people that has helped us in the community or someone that has motivated us. And I guess, like you said, your activity was about how to know, a scammer or how to determine if you're being scammed. So maybe that's why you want to talk about people that have helped us, or how do we kind of reach out to them and whatnot. So maybe you can touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I thought it'd be good to kind of start with like the larger names, and then we could each kind of maybe talk about in our niche communities, right? And so I think we all kind of started with bigger pockets, things things like that, and that's where I started, and then I'd kind of follow guest from there. Like if there was a guest on there that was talking about like 100 buildings and how they scaled in 2 years, I didn't really go and follow them. But then when I heard Dion was on there and I heard Tacoma, I'm like, oh, that's where I live. So I kind of stalked him down and found out that he had a group here called Tacoma FI. And then I kind of just went down the rabbit hole of trying to find all of my like local groups.
All right, Joel, for you, has there anyone you kind of could say has helped you in your journey so far, or kind of got you started on this path?
Uh, Real estate specifically.
No, just anything.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to go backwards in time, and this is something that I've been talking about for a while. In the sales world, right? You do a lot of work, and sometimes you don't see the results for a while. You're building relationships, and this is a number of years ago, and I was working, at a bank at the time, and one of the top guys went out of his way to help me. Now, this is a Saturday. He comes in and comes and finds me. But he had driven by the office on a Saturday 3 times in a row and never came in. And then on the 4th time, he's like, I see this guy hustling, working hard. I'm going to help this guy out. Comes in, long story short, gives me some pointers and gives me a couple secret sauce types of tips and help me be able to go get more business. And so, the doing the work and just waiting for the results. I mean, it's a struggle. It's a burden. You have a lot of doubt and fear. But the thing is that you put enough work in, people also notice. And so that's just the one thing that's, just one of many examples that have been huge for me, just getting help from people.
Yeah, like I had made a post because I just passed my real estate exam test, and then I made a post in our local page saying, "Hey, passed my test. Here's kind of my goal. What tips do you have?" And there was like 100 likes, 30 different comments from people way ahead in the game. So I think the more you put yourself kind of out there doing that work, the more likely people are to reach out and try to help you.
All right. I just also, before we move on, I want to remind everyone about Curtis's YouTube channel. It's in the chat. Joel's YouTube channel is also there. And I also put the PayPal link for the ORAT shirt that Old Guy REI is starting to sell again, kind of lead up to next year's event, which Joel didn't show up to as usual. But Frank is selling those shirts again. So go check it out. Let's see. I know there was one before I kind of mentioned on who has helped me in the community. Maybe Hyder said 490. Wow. I guess he heard credit score from you, Joel. He said that might be my social credit score. Government don't like me. But how did you navigate through that? Maybe real quickly talk about that.
Yeah. So, and I also posted something yesterday. I think maybe the day before about manufactured home plus investment property equals no go. I get a lot of those every now and then. And the solution that we had was, the person was going to be purchasing it for their sister who just needed help. So we put the sister in first position on the loan, and then the wife and the husband, the other sister, on as co-signers. And, we had a couple different things that popped up. Initially we were putting, I think, 15% down. And then, we do a soft pull, a credit refresh before we close on a loan. And we do that to make sure that no new debts have been opened. And in this case, something had opened, and then we had to regroup, and score dropped. We had a collection pop up, so we had to pull in the report, unfortunately. So the score dropped. We did another rescore, got the scores up, and then for whatever reason, we had to pivot again. And we were able, because they were buying from family, we were able to do a gift of equity, which enabled them to get this increased price, gift of equity, get them with no PMI, et cetera, and then we got the deal done. So just creative deal structure. And on conventional loans, we can average the scores. So that's how we get that done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one thing that I think you touched on too, right? Solving problems, so people that are looking to get in, or even buy their primary residence, investment property, reach out to different lenders. Some of them are just gonna give you the cookie cutter kind of scenario, but there's those that you reach out to are gonna kind of walk you through it and try to figure out a solution and how to solve the problem, right? For me, going back to kind of talking about how we someone that has touched us or helped us or motivated us, definitely for me it was more as, I guess you would say, the C-19 virus. That kind of world being shut down very much opened my eyes to kind of just, I can't rely on the government in a sense, or my pension, or the job that I have, even though it's a very secure job. Just the fact that I am kind of tied to it, where it's a paycheck, and if I have bills to pay, then I'm kind of at the mercy of doing what this job may tell me that I need to do to keep my job. So it definitely opened my eyes, and that's really what pushed me down to kind of finding this community. We kind of touched on it, Curtis, and one rental at a time community. He mentioned Dion, and I think for some, a lot of people, I think Dion is what brought people to the one rental at a time community, right? I know Zuber is probably the face and the name behind it, but I think a lot of people would say Dion is the one that kind of brought them to this community. And there's also Lumberjack and Millennial Mike. But for me, it was the C-19, the world being shut down, and just changing my views on a lot of things. Has that, you think that affected you folks also?
Oh, for sure. So that was my first year teaching. So we were doing like online teaching and things like that. And then when we kind of got back to hybrid, I got to see some of the older teachers kind of watching the stock market go up and go down. And then the year after that, our district had a like the levy if it was going to pass or fail. Well, if it passed, I kept my job. If it failed, uh, a lot of teachers were going to have to be let go. And me being so young and so new, I was likely on the chopping block. So that was kind of an eye opening, like, oh, while my job is important, it's not necessarily 100% safe. So I better go and do something on the side.
I want to just so Flavio did have a question. I think Curtis, you replied to him, but you replied from your channel, so I'm not sure if he can see that. But Flavio asked, how often are the Tacoma 5 meetups? And Curtis replied, once a month. So Flavio, Curtis is a good guy to connect with, and he also got his real estate license too. So maybe kind of did you hang your license with someone so far? You all right?
No, I've been kind of interviewing brokerages. I'm kind of narrowing it down slowly but surely here. My thought process is I think I'm going to go with some local investors that are doing exactly what I want to do, so that way I can kind of just follow their plan already.
Cool. So Joel, I know you're kind of building your own brand also, right? I mean, what was the thought process behind that? Did you want to help others get started? I mean, is it more for building your business? What is your process for that?
Well, you mentioned brand. Which brand? The lending or the Strive?
Well, that's the thing too. I'm always confused as what channel to share for you. You
Yeah,
have, yeah.
and it really wasn't until recently that I started really focusing more on the lending side of things, and the Strive for 25, that part of it really is more focused on the income building part of it, right? And then if you can increase income, save money, then you can invest. And then the lending side is really more real estate lending, really more specific on that. And as we're talking about this, I was thinking about the who helped you, what pushed you down the rabbit hole to get into real estate investing, and for me, kind of the cliche of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was a long time ago for me. I think probably 2013, 2014 timeframe for me that I read that book, maybe even before that. And I bought my first house in 2009, bought the next one in 2013 as a primary, turned the old one into rental. So that's one of the things that I keep talking about on my platforms is the stair step method. It's one way for the everyday person to be able to acquire a portfolio and scale is buying one primary residence at a time. Now, again, I started out at age 26, didn't have a family, no kids, wasn't married. So to be able to navigate and move to the next one and the next one, the next one is simpler than if you've got a family. So I take that with a grain of salt. But that book just shifted the way of thinking about assets and the rat race and absorbing that. And I never had a mentor. Just kept on going and read books and didn't have anybody in my circles. Social media wasn't the way that it is today in terms of just all the information that's out there. So, my goal was to be able to put out stuff just to be able to help the next person, that may need the extra inspiration. But, in my world, I was in a sales position, 100% sales, 100% commission. So I was working nonstop, just trying to increase income. So for me, that's what I talk about is, okay, if you can increase income, save more money, and then just dollar cost average into real estate, the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, Curtis, Joe mentioned, kind of when he started, he didn't have the family, the wife, the kids. And for you, that kind of, I don't think a lot of people would have done what you did. If you want to touch on that, how you got started, in your journey in the real estate side and building your portfolio. So maybe touch on that briefly.
Yeah, and so when you start, you have to figure out on the comfortability scale, how far do you want to go? Well, I went all the way to the most uncomfortable that I could. So I bought a duplex. The unit I stayed in was 3 bed, 1.5 bath. Well, the primary suite had a exterior door. So I just sealed off the room from the rest of the house. And I lived in about 200 square feet with no shower, no kitchen. Now, I don't recommend that because I had a shower at work, at the gym, at my mom's house, anywhere I really could. And then for like the kitchen, I had to either use an air fryer or microwave. But you can't use them at the same time, or else it pops the circuit. And so, again, if I had a wife or kids, that obviously probably wouldn't work. But because of the position that I was in, I was fine.
I think you also, you mentioned Dion's name earlier. And to that point, he always talks about kind of how, once you graduate high school, you're actually probably much closer to financial freedom than you are, later in life, right? And you don't think about it that way, right? You're thinking, I don't really have a great job yet. I don't have a lot of money. Maybe I don't have a home yet. But yet, if you just make these certain sacrifices and steps, you could be financially free, by 25, 30. And that's kind of, you did play football and stuff first and went to college, but, your first thing, like you said, it was a lot easier for you to do this house hack instead of, getting caught up in the traditional life maybe that a lot of people fall into. And then it makes making those decisions a lot more difficult, right? Was there someone who believed in you before you believed in yourself, you would say, maybe, Curtis?
Um, my let's see, I had a friend do something similar, um, but not quite as extreme. They also kind of did the house hack thing, but believe it or not, it was actually my college landlord that really pushed me and said, "You can absolutely do what I do." And so my college landlord, Mark, he owned like at least 8 properties around the colleges, and so a lot of my friends had him as a landlord. And I asked him, "Hey, Mark, how did you build this? Because I mean, I know what each room rents for, and you times that by how many houses. I know you're doing very well. So how did you do it?" And he was like, "Well, I was a teacher, and then I kind of bought one every year, and then now I get to build them." And so I kind of told him what my plan was, and he told me, "Yeah, that's a great plan. Here's how you would do it in this area." And I thought it was very interesting that he wanted to kind of pass his knowledge down.
I wonder if that I don't think my friend went to UW, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think he kind of talked about something similar to that sense where, him and his friends when they were in college, they were renting, 10 Hawaii guys in one place, and then they'd pay their rent on, in cash the first of the month. And I think they had to move out, or some of the friends didn't want to do that anymore. So maybe, they moved to the next place because they only had 6 people now or something. And then finds out they go pay the rent, and the same guy comes to collect the rent. And he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, you were just picking up my rent at the other place." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I own this, I own that." And that really opened up his mind to like, wait, okay, you have this property, you have like 10 of us, 6 of us living here, and we're paying you all this rent. And so it really opened his mind to like how there is a lot of people that are doing it, right? How they're building their wealth, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for us, it wasn't the cash deal, but we had to pay on like Venmo, and on Venmo you can click the person's profile, and if they're public, you see all their transactions. So all you would click is on Mark's name, and you would scroll, and you're like, "Holy smokes! Eight hundred
That's
dollars, $800,
That
$800."
is interesting. And I was gonna make a joke about us being old paying cash, but like to your point though, right? There is a lot of times that we're not paying attention to those little things where you're like, this guy's collecting. You see all these transactions, right? Or who's the owner and whatnot. So there is a lot of opportunities out there. Like Joe, so same question for you. Was there anyone maybe who believed in you before you believed in yourself?
I wouldn't say on the real estate side of things because I was kind of operating in this vacuum. I didn't really have. I mean, my former business partner and I that we ran the mortgage business. I had my own lane. stuff that I was doing, multifamily, short-term rental, different things. And then I had, together with my business partner, we acquired a commercial building. We operated our mortgage business out of the commercial building, acquired a couple other multifamilies along the way. And so he and I, we would vibe off of each other, but we were all kind of operating in a vacuum. So it was kind of tough. There wasn't that community around us. But on the sales side of things, I mean, I had a couple of sales coaches that I've worked with over the last 15 years, and just having that support is huge. It was huge for me. So I mean, but I paid for it, but it was worthwhile, because in my world, organization, systems, and prospecting are some of the key traits that help us do well in this business.
I just want to give a shout out to Frank, Old Guy REI, stopping by. And like I mentioned, if you haven't, go check out his YouTube channel, go subscribe. And also, he is starting to sell the old rat shirts again. So there's the PayPal link. And actually, let me just do this real quick. So if anyone hasn't seen it, this is the front of the shirt. And here is the back. So I found my tribe. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't, go pick one up, wear it to next year's event, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think everyone's excited for the event again next year. Hopefully Joel can make it this year. We still have this batting cage battle that we're supposed to have. He was too afraid to show up this past year.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think you guys can kind of tell. Maybe I do maybe have a little confidence in myself, or I don't worry too much about what people think. So for that question, I don't know. I would definitely say when I was younger, though, I was probably more on the shy side. But for me, maybe I'll flip it to my son, though, and that's where I struggle, because when I see him, like right now he's playing flag football, and he's definitely doesn't have the confidence in himself. And I get frustrated because like I mentioned, I think a lot of you guys probably would say that maybe I'm confident or I don't care what people think, and so I have a hard time relating to him on that standpoint, because like for me, I'm just like, just go do it, but he's very much doesn't have that confidence right now. So I struggle trying to figure out how I'm going to communicate with him. And but so that's what I'm trying to work on right now, is to figure out how I can relate to him.
Can I ask you a question on that? Because that's kind of what I was sort of alluding to with my journey. Okay, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then it really wasn't until years had gone by, like, oh, this is actually working. Okay, maybe I'll double down on this and keep on going. The work, you put the work in, you see results, and then naturally you're going to have confidence. So, and you mentioned, Mark, for yourself, as you're younger versus going through your adult stage, getting more confidence. What was there something for you that clicked, or was it just a gradual process? Where did that evolve for you?
Yeah, I don't know what clicked. I think it's weird. I actually we're having a event tonight. They're celebrating the state championship baseball team. I was on some event tonight, but it's weird because
I mentioned that before, by the way.
Yeah, but it's weird because
State champ.
like I wasn't. I mean, I was okay. I mean, there's different levels, all-star level, right? But so I mean, I made all-star teams when I was younger, but all the really good kids, like the top level guys, all went to private school. Like when we started getting towards middle school, high school, they were all going to the private schools already. So there was like a bunch of us that, we weren't like the stars, but we made all-star and stuff. But a lot of us were still just in, we went to public school. And yet we won state championships. And that's why the joke is kind of like, yeah, we would have never been playing if all these good kids from our area stayed in our community instead of going to the private schools. And I don't know if that was part of it. Like it was more like just these kids were leaving, they're going to private schools, and they kind of actually just get caught up with all the talent that was there, right? So they went from being the stars in our area to just normal Joes in their private school, right? So I don't know if that helped in any way, where it was like, okay, like, I'm starting, I'm doing all these things, and maybe that was part of it, and now maybe so that I think that's why I always try to look back and like, man, I got to figure out how to communicate with my son though, because I know it's hard. I know when you're a kid, and I think part of it is because he started later than a lot of his friends because he didn't want to play flag football at first. So his classmates are like, whatever couple seasons ahead of him. So when he's playing, he's trying to figure out football and at the same time also learn the skills of football. So it's like, it's okay, you can catch the pass, but it's like he doesn't quite understand. Okay, if I just the defenders, following me, like if I have to try to get away from him in a sense, like right, he's just trying to stand to where the coach tells him to go. So he's trying to learn the game and learn the skills. So and he's behind in a sense, right? So, but I definitely trying to figure out how to communicate with him and not get so frustrated because I definitely get frustrated because he is, kind of passive right now because he just doesn't have that confidence. But yes, that has always been the joke. I did play shortstop with Andy, coincidentally. So, um, but so I also want to comment. Flavio did say, Curtis, I don't know if you know, but he wants to carpool with you to Vegas for the event.
Carpool?
Yeah, he wants to jump in with you. He said.
He can get a plane ticket with me, but I'm not driving.
Share a seat.
Yeah. So, let's see. Let's see. What are the questions here? Yeah, Hyder's making a lot of sacrifices. He's doing a lot of cool. And to Hyder's point too, we're talking about who has helped us. Communities. How to maybe even determine scammers or if you're wasting your time. But to Hyder, I don't know if you guys saw in the school community, he posted like the Rebel Capitalist event going on with George Gammon. He got a free ticket, a free it's like a $2,000 value ticket to the event because he is so much entrenched in that community, always being on the lives, the videos, moderating, commenting, and being so active there. That George Gammon mentioned that to him, I think last year at the event. Hyder said, and Hyder just kind of brushed it off. Like, we'll see if he comes through, or we'll see if he follows. And he said he received a ticket to like a $2,000 value ticket to go to the event. And so yeah, so we're talking about networking and community, and those are the kind of things like you can that this person who didn't need to do it stuck to his word and sent Hyder this ticket to attend the event. So that's super cool.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
And sorry, Mark. So one thing that is interesting. So I used to privately coach kids, right? And so it wasn't always coaching the kids. It was sometimes also having to explain to the parents, right? So the parents would bring them like, I don't know what to do with my kid. And one, I thought it was really cool that they were asking for help because I also see a lot of kids that their parents just think they know with what to do, but like not always. But yeah, I think it's very courageous and bold of you to say, yeah, this is something that I'm having a hard time with. So good on you, man.
yeah, so I think the best thing is I just try to always tell him have fun and get better every practice. And the biggest thing for him is he just gets very nervous out there. So like practices for him is definitely much better than when it comes to the game time. Like I swear in the games he specifically runs into coverage so he won't get the ball thrown to him. Like I swear he runs directly to where there's the most people so that they won't throw him the ball like that. And so I'm just trying to, keep pushing. Like, hey, have fun. It's the same as practice. Because practice, he's really doing a lot better. But it's the games where I can tell where he's waiting for other kids to make the play. So like, if the offensive guy's running towards him, and to do, he's almost like waiting for the other person to pull the flag, right? So,
Mhm.
but as long as he's having fun, so that's the main thing. But definitely trying to get him to be a little more confident and but not maybe not to my level yet, but just have confidence to be a little more aggressive out there. But um Yeah, let's see what else. Oh,
Joel, you had said that you had paid for the support the coaching. Do you think no matter what a person's field is, they should pay for coaching?
I think it's an opportunity. And then the opportunity is in front of you. And then it's, do you seize the opportunity to take the coaching, the accountability, the knowledge, the experience, and then take whatever activity you're doing and try to, ramp it up a notch, right? Like, I give this example. If Michael Jordan was going to knock on your door every single morning and say, hey, let's go, it's time to get going, and he's going to knock on your door the next morning, whatever the activity is, flag football or real estate or income job, whatever it is. I mean, how do you think your performance is going to be with Michael Jordan knocking on your door every single day versus not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I would be doing a lot better, whatever
yeah.
I'd be doing, right? And then there's a book, Winning, by Tim Grover, and just talks about the mindset, all the things that these guys, why Kobe and Jordan, why they're different. And one of the examples he talks about in the book is that they look at time differently. Most people count down to a deadline, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and half-ass some shit to the finish line. And these guys look at time differently. They count up to deadlines, day 1, day 10, day 20. Just a different mindset of how they accomplish things and work towards things. And so, okay, well, I can't have Jordan talking to me every single day, but maybe I can have the next best thing, and that's Tim Grover talking, listening to an audiobook for 5-10 minutes every single day. So just a little bit of things that I do personally. But then the coaching part of it, okay, well, then you've got an opportunity to be able to have somebody collaborate with you to be able to work towards something and get better. So I think it's good for the right person who wants to go make things happen and absorb it's a relationship. You're building a relationship with your coach and hoping to work together to get to a higher level. So it's not right for everybody, but I think somebody that really wants to grow and scale and elevate their game, it's something to be aware to think of. And there's coaches for all kinds of different professions.
all right. Coach Curtis Hyder says, Mark, sounds like watching short clips that you explain might help my son. Like a play happen. Oh, it moved. Like a play happens and you show him the play and break it down with excitement so it doesn't feel like school. Is that what you guys do with coaching?
Oh yeah, I'm so grateful for like YouTube and NFL clips because I can search for what I need the guy to actually do, and then like find the best version of it. Like if it's a lineman blocking, like a guy just knocks him out or something, right? And then I can show like, okay, this can be you, and show him then show him a drill that's like, okay, this is how you can replicate what you just saw, and oh, the kids typically like that, or if it's like a catching guy, like a receiver or a tight end, throw on some like Odell Beckham or Justin like Jefferson, some of their crazy stuff. I'm like, okay, we may not be able to do this, but this is a drill that they even do. And then they're like, what? They do this drill? And then boom, they're good.
Yeah, Andy says we took the running backs one time in practice and ran them through the lineman drills and vice versa with the linemen. Amazing how it changed their perspective and respect for each other. Yeah. Let's see. Hyder said he's very humbling that he got the ticket. Yeah. So Joe, what are you? I guess. Let me see. What was my next question for you? Oh, I know. Where did it go? I lost it.
Baseball
No,
topic.
not baseball. It was, have you ever had to break up with someone who was holding you back?
Yeah,
You're ready to go, or
yeah, I mean, I think there's been a couple situations where the breakup definitely, looking back on things, you realize how much that person was holding you back. And I'm the glass half full kind of a guy, so I'm always like, let's just keep on going, let's go. And then things don't, some things can fall apart, and you look back, okay, yeah, that was not the right situation. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some of that for sure.
Curtis, what about you?
Yeah, kind of like what Joel said is that you may kind of see it when you're in like the thick of it, and then it kind of takes that step back where you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't necessarily aligning with where I want to go, and but I think that clarity afterwards could kind of be a jump start too. It's like, okay, now that that's gone, I can keep moving.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely. I think you guys already know. I mean, I talk about it quite a bit. It's a. I'm torn. The firehouse is definitely that where I'm kind of torn on, in a sense, breaking up, or it's a great place. I mean, I love it still. It's definitely, though, it's such a culture. That's why I would say the firehouse, and it's so easy to get caught up in that, right? It's so easy. I mean, I look at the text messages or group thread that I'm on with the guys from my station, and then I look at like the WhatsApp chat we got with the ORAC community or the people in the community, and it's just, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans going on there, but at the same time, there's different productivity also in these chats or text threads, right? So a lot of it is, like I said, in the firehouse, it's great. It's a lot of camaraderie and whatnot. But when I look at the one rental at a time one or whatever, you can always see productive stuff too, where people, when they do have a question, are popping it in there, right? Or when they're working on something. So it is definitely, that's where for me that the breakup is kind of coming, in a sense, or I have that struggle with. And me, I don't even know if Joel knows, but I'm out, waiting for shoulder surgery. So I've been waiting for 4 weeks now, just waiting for it to get scheduled. But this time not working is definitely making me realize, as far as um, being away, and I guess I would be okay, I guess, if I stepped away already. I'll probably leave end of next year. Frank wants to ask, why is there shenanigans in the chat? And I think everyone will probably, I have something to do with that a little bit. But yeah, definitely, walking away from the firehouse is something a lot more attainable or easier for me to do right now. I think early in my career, I would have never thought about leaving early, but now it's definitely on the table. And being out waiting for shoulder surgery and stuff, it definitely makes me um, yeah, as you guys can see, I'm doing a lot of lives. I'm doing a lot more things, and it's just I do have more time to commit to it. So even that's why I'm doing a weekly regular thing with Zuber. I reached out to him. I said, hey, I can commit to a time now, a day and time. So you let me know if there's something that works for you, or you need something filled, and if I can accommodate, I'll accommodate. So every Thursday we're doing the recaps of his videos, the comment section videos. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. I need more spicy comments. I need more of you to tune in and write spicy comments in his videos. I have stuff to discuss, but I don't see as many as I used to. So I don't know if he's blocking them, or people are not tuning in. Um, oh, okay. If you guys, Frank does have, admitting you need help is the first step. Is he talking about my shenanigans, or
Yeah.
or uh yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, how do you filter out bad advice or distractions?
Hmm. I kind of look at the person that's giving the advice, and that's how I kind of take the value there is, okay, is this person living or have lived the life that I want? The answer is no. Kind of take it with a grain of salt. Now, it still could be true, but I just kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Uh, what about you, Joe?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Andy's comment about making kids proud and the clash.
Oh yeah, we can dig into that after. But
Yeah.
what did I do? Oh, how do you filter out bad advice or distractions?
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, it's the same thing that PE turned RE said. But that plus like just gut feeling, like especially if it's interaction, interpersonal interaction, just that gut feeling taking over too. But also it's like there could be amazing information in front of you, amazing tips and tricks and advice. But like, if you're not in the mental space and energy to be able to receive it, then it doesn't even matter. And I think that's the hard part, of just every day for me, just getting in that mental energy to like go make shit happen. And then, being at a frequency that I can, be in my creative space and not let the limitations take over.
Yeah, it's definitely hard nowadays, right? There's just so much things going on. There's probably like 5 group chats I'm still allowed in before Frank kicks me out of his. So right now I'm probably still in 5. I might get kicked out of the WhatsApp one soon by Jim. I don't know. Jim hasn't been talking to me. I don't know if I hurt his feelings about his shirt, but I think that's the thing too. There's a lot of distractions out there. I think you just gotta take, like Joe, I think you guys touched on it, take it with a grain of salt. People are always going to be trying to give you information, and I think a lot of people, they don't think it's bad information, right? They're just giving you their information and maybe how they would handle something, but it's for you to filter out if it's going to work for you or if it makes sense for you. And I think it's the same thing as Hyder always talks about it, in a sense, or he's not really too concerned about politics, right? He doesn't really pay attention to it much, but it's the same thing where it's just information out there, and you take it with a grain of salt, and how it's going to help you win at life or help navigate your situation. So you're not trying to pay attention to it or dig into it or dissect it too much, but you just hear it, kind of roll it. Oh, I can take this tidbit from here, or I can use this information that's given to me here, and I'm going to use this to help me win and whatnot. So I think that's the great part about it, is this community is definitely, there's a lot of shenanigans and a lot of goofing around going on, but for the most part, people are pushing you in the right direction and holding you accountable, right? I think that's the important part about it.
Hey, Mark. So Flavio message here talking about a family member go see houses together, always wanted to buy, but at the end not pulling the trigger. And I've got a story that's has an unexpected ending. And I had a client that came to me in 2019, wanted to buy a house in the DC market, making good money, government job, I think like mid 6 figures, 150K plus. And just always had a reason not to pull the trigger. And then rates went really low in the 2020 and 2021 timeframe. Well, prices are too high. Prices will come down. And then 2022 hits. Well, rates are going up. I can't do this. And then finally, she pulled the trigger and bought a house in 2024. And with prices going up and rates going up, the affordability affected things. And so she had a really good realtor who was really on the investor side of things. And so she had this different mentality than the normal realtor. And so they worked together and put together a savings plan. And she saved over 100 grand in just a couple of years, like just knocked it out of the park, on just an average salary in that market. And, not to go down a different path, but there's just been a lot of uncertainty in the government markets in terms of jobs and in the DC area. And so she may have to take a early retirement kind of a thing. And she was frustrated about the whole thing. And then she said, well, at the end of the day, I'm going to go start my own business and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, really? Okay. I was like, do you think you'd have the confidence to go jump and start your own business without going through this process of uncertainty, not have the confidence, and then go all in on saving money? That process of her buckling in and saving money and cutting things out of her budget, like, just gave her so much confidence. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have the confidence to go do my own thing without that process. And so coming out the other side, that work and the uncertainty just for her was just a massive win. So I don't know, just the process comes into play.
Yeah, so even like Flavio is fairly new to the community. He's in the school community, but he's always tuning into the lives. He's very supportive. But that's the one thing he always messages me. Like, he's, to Frank's shirt, you found your tribe. He definitely feels like this. He's found his community. He kind of loves what is going on, who he's interacting with. I think he may have mentioned it too to me also, but it's like no one is really selling anything, but everyone is willing to help everyone. Like, no one is trying to push a course on you or tell you need to this. They're just trying to give you advice and maybe how they would handle a certain situation. But I think he's been around other places where he felt like everyone was trying to sell him something, or he was afraid to mention things because, I mean, maybe it's just he likes me making trouble to him, but I'm always goofing around with him in the chat. So maybe he just likes that kind of honesty, or kind of just that kind of truthfulness to what he's getting here. But he loves this community, it seems like. So hopefully he's going to be in Vegas. Hopefully he doesn't drive there, right, Curtis? Hopefully he'll fly there. But I think that's the thing, right? And we all have different opinions. I'm sure we all have different views on things, but for the most part, everyone is striving for the same goals and helping everyone. And like Big Andy kind of comments on what Flavio mentioned. He said, Andy says, "Yeah, agreed, Flavio. I'm probably the one not always pulling the trigger, but will be one of the first ones to help protect or throw hands when it comes to finance. Always afraid of failure." Right. So, but to Andy's point, I think that's why it's good having someone like Frank, old guy REI, even myself, people that we've have made a lot of mistakes, right? We've made a lot of mistakes, and we talk about it. Frank, I believe he went bankruptcy, filed for bankruptcy, but he lost a lot of his real estate early in his journey, and he had the courage to restart again. But I think those are the kind of stories that can help the people that are afraid of failure realize that there is ways out, or there is solutions to a lot of things, right?
Yeah, and it's so cool, kind of on the flip side of being on the younger end of things, of seeing the, how do I phrase this, more experienced folks. I can kind of look at y'all and kind of see like, okay, if I just keep down this track, this could be the future. Maybe I don't want that future, so maybe I'm gonna adjust a little bit, right? But just kind of like, it's really cool to be able to look ahead.
Yeah. But even that, I motivated Frank to get rid of his AOL, email, right? Now he has Gmail.
Ooh,
But
step up.
Frank, I don't think I ever told you. One of my friends still has Hotmail. I don't know if does anyone still use Hotmail out there. If you do, but he's
Yahoo.
yeah. So I forwarded someone a message, I think, and it had Hotmail, had the Hotmail email address, and my friend was like, "Hotmail, what the heck, man?" But yeah, it's funny that but I guess some people don't want to change, right? Yeah, yeah. Andy says Curtis is wise beyond his age.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Andy.
yeah. You got to meet Andy. Andy's a super good dude, and he's one of the first I'd sacrifice to the gorilla, though. So I don't. I don't. So that has been a big topic. It's going to drive Chester nuts. But we've been talking about the one gorilla versus 100 men. So we can talk about that a little bit later before we wrap things up. So you guys can run that through your brain a little bit. But we also been having a big discussion, and I know Curtis probably. I know I'll take Curtis's take on it. But the big topic has been cash flow versus net worth. That has been a big one recently, and I think you guys, if you guys haven't watched Coach Carson's videos, he has a lot of cool videos that have come out recently. Kind of not saying cash flow is not important, but definitely kind of saying like equity or net worth is the first layer, and cash flow comes after. In a sense, I mean, he said if he looks back on his portfolio, uh, the net worth has really what has helped him build his wealth. So, Joel, what's your take on that? Cash flow versus net worth. I mean, we know most people will agree that both are important. They're both necessary. But if you were like, with your platform and whatnot, talking about strive for 25, save 25%, would you be having someone, focusing on their income, cash flow growth first, or building that net worth side?
Yeah, I'm on the same path of the net worth first. But again, there's so many details that go into the strategies and where somebody is, what type of real estate they want to be able to get into. But yeah, I'm a net worth build equity first.
Interesting, Curtis.
So I think we even had this talk as a topic for a live before, and then I was all about like the cash flow. Though as I'm meeting more people like well advanced that like don't work anymore, that type of thing, I'm hearing more and more of them say, you want the higher net worth because you can always move it around to get the cash flow that and you need.
I think so for me, and I think that's why Dion leans heavily to his side of cash flow, is that most people, and I see it a lot in Hawaii, right? You have this $1.5 million home that you have paid off. So your net worth is great, but they just sit on it and
Mm-hmm.
they're comfortable with not having a house payment, but they're living off of, say, Social Security and maybe a small pension, right? So their net worth is great, but they're still living basically a fixed payment every month, right? So I think that's why kind of Dion probably leans a little bit more towards cash flow, is because it's easier for a lot of people to understand increasing your income, generating more cash flow. And a lot of these people, they won't push, or they won't leverage their net worth in a lot of times, right? Like Curtis, you're saying these people are already successful, but
Mm-hmm.
they are moving around their equity, moving around their network. So they're figuring out other ways to grow. But like for me, I see it, and like I said, even like my parents, they have a paid off home, and there is a lot of benefits to that. It is a lot of a lot of safety and security. um, well, Frank, yeah, what's in your title, old guy REI? Well, how else can I go around it? But so I think that's the thing too, right? I mean, the net worth for those that know how to use it definitely can help expand your net worth and equity, right? But for a lot of people, they just don't know how to navigate that, and that's why it's great, being around this community, because you learn the different ways, or get that confidence to maybe use that equity, right, to buy other assets that generate cash flow. But I think that's to Dion's point. That's why he likes to lean towards the cash flow, because it's a little bit easier for a lot of people to understand. And I saw Ken McElroy put, I think I shared it on Instagram also, but I think it was cash flow solves problems.
Mm-hmm.
Equity or network gives you options. And I think that's a great way to look at it. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, Andy's a big dude. He said gorilla not a problem, but chicken. He is afraid of chickens. So
I
that
hate birds, man. All birds.
what's with you big guys, man?
Okay. Have I ever given you the argument why I hate birds?
No, but I want to hear it now.
Okay. Why are they everywhere? Okay. They're on land. Like an ostrich and emu have you ever seen how big they are? And they go as fast as a car. So you think you can escape them, right? So you go up in a tree or something. Well, here come these hawks, these eagles. Okay, so then you're like, okay,
Did,
what if
wait,
I go
wait.
in
Did you
water?
just say she can go up in a tree?
Okay, well, listen, you can't escape them. You cannot escape the birds because then you go in water and you got penguins and stuff down there. Birds are everywhere. I hate them. Hate them.
Hello?
Okay. Well, you and Andy can hang out in Vegas and have this discussion. maybe maybe we'll do a short or reel on it about. Well, I like to see you run in a tree to avoid a chicken, though. That's definitely what I want to see.
See,
But
a chicken is small enough. I could probably like kick one of those. But ostriches and emus, there is no escape.
all right. Well, my thing was for the gorilla versus the 100 men was I said I would send the big dudes like Andy, Curtis, Val, Frank, Cody. I would send all these big dudes at the gorilla first, and let the gorilla get worn out, and then the Asian Ewoks like me and Mikey would jump in after while it's already beaten down, right? So that would be my strategy. Um, but then after I said that, I got all these text messages from like not Frank, but Val and Andy, like, bro, you haven't never seen me run. You don't know how quick I am. They're like, I'm, they're like, I'm quick in spurts, man. 6 steps and I'm good.
Sounds like a basketball player.
Yeah. Talking about basketball, is your team still playing? I don't know.
Can we just move on, please?
Hold on. Hyder says birds are government robots to spy on us. Ah, that's why they land on power lines to recharge. Oh, okay. Now you're gonna hate them even more, Curtis. Hello, I'm from Iran. Thank you for stopping by. Aloha, I'm from Hawaii. Please subscribe so you can tune into these engaging conversations. We talk about real estate, finance, mindset. Joe's a lender. We also just talk about some random shenanigans like one gorilla versus 100 men also. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying yourself. But yeah, I mean, do you guys have anything else you guys want to dig into about kind of someone that's helped you? Anyone you want to give a shout out to that's been super helpful in your journey, or anything else on this discussion?
Mark, Joel had said he had paid for a couple coaches. Have you ever done anything like that, like formal mentoring?
No, I have not. I think for me, it's I don't. I guess maybe if I was younger, I would definitely probably consider it a lot more. Maybe because I think I would have been searching for maybe different strategies or different avenues. But for where I'm at, I'm definitely in that kind of boring, kind of lazy mindset in the sense where kind of set it, forget it. Even all that sub two stuff, creative. I enjoy understanding it and looking into it. But for where I'm at in my journey, for me, it's not so much taking on all those risks in a sense. I do have like a pension and all these other things. So for me, it's a little bit more kind of that simple, long term buy and hold. For me, probably the riskiest would be like short-term rental type stuff, mid-term rental. Even the pad split co-living stuff to me seems even like too much work in a sense. I know you can get a lot of strategy and systems in place, but even for me, that seems like it's a little bit too much work for what I'd like to do. And maybe it's because I'm focusing more on the social media side and building this. Maybe if I wasn't doing this type of stuff, then I'd be focusing more on the acquisition side. But yeah, but I think I think part of it though is even being in a community like this, right? um I think it's helpful that we can, because there is people that have reached out for mentors or courses, right? So I think it's super helpful where you can pick other people's brains, like, hey, have you signed up for this person's course, or have you joined this person's course? But I think YouTube University provides a lot of information already, and even these school platforms, like Zuber's one is only $20 a month, right? And you can get a lot of resources that way. But that'll be my take on it. I did not say that, Frank. I said I am comfortable in my own skin, and that's what I think helps me. I'm definitely comfortable in who I am, and I think I sent Frank this hat or this picture. I'm gonna wear it. It says I'm not for everyone, right? There's definitely, I mean, and I think that shouldn't be the goal, right? If you're trying to please everyone, I think that's where you're gonna run into problems and struggles, and definitely. But yeah, I don't know, Joe. I mean, Kurt, are you thinking about because joining any or anything?
I'm too poor to at the moment. All of the local like people that I'd like, okay, cool. They're hands on. They're in my area. It's kind of costly, and so that's actually why I'm taking my time on choosing like a brokerage, because I'm like, well, at least this way I can kind of choose a mentor-ish and not have to pay that fat bill.
I have a question. So, in the real estate space, right? I mean, you pay for coaching to get something out of it. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, the number one thing stopping somebody from getting into the next deal is just having the money for down payment.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong on that? Anybody bought a piece of property with little money down, that's not a primary residence? In the chat, anybody bought a real estate rental with little money out of pocket, sub 2 seller financing? Anybody done that?
He's not here, but Ray has done a sub 2, and he's doing a sub 2 on his Airbnb out of state. So, but he's not here. I haven't seen him coming in, but I know he's done a sub 2 recently. I would think a lot of people here are on the boring side. Buy and hold. But Curtis definitely is looking into a lot of options. He's sitting down with a lot of owners and talking to them. But yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, the coaching part of it, it's, there's resources out there you can pay for that are probably going to be helpful, but what are you going to get out of it? And what's the end game? I mean, maybe they can help you wholesale, and maybe you can uncover deals and then wholesale them to somebody else and make some spread. Like, okay, that's cool. Or getting into a deal wholesale. But at the end of the day, like, do you have the money to be able to acquire the next property? Yes or no? And if you do, then okay, yeah, then maybe it makes sense to, pay money for additional help. But yeah, I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it. Like all this coaching stuff out there, spending thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, okay, is it really worth it? I don't know. Versus like Zuber's platform where you got all this mental resources of the community for $20 a month. Like, I don't know. There's pros and cons to it. Whereas like on sales, like this is my active job. Like I need to go make more money to be able to do things I want to do. So it's a little bit of a different, in my opinion, a little bit of different lane in my job versus, investing.
Sorry, I'm replying. Jim is messaging me on the side. He said he saw my video with Omar recently. So he said super good. So Jim is a contractor out in California. He's looking to start investing in Pittsburgh. So he's definitely trying to reach out to a lot of the people that I use. So he just said he would like to talk to Omar at some point. So Omar and my other connection in Pittsburgh, Alex Deacon, they will be on live Friday. So that should be a good one. So Omar's a contractor. He does a lot of burr stuff. So I think a lot of people will tune in and have questions for him. I told Jim that we would not make fun of his shirt if he tunes into the live today. So please do not comment on his shirt or anything.
Is Pittsburgh becoming the unofficial old rat hub?
Well, no. So I don't ever tell, like, I don't want to tell people to invest in Pittsburgh. But if people have an interest, I'm an open book, and Mikey's an open book, and there's a lot of people that are pivoting there to check it out. I think a lot of people are noticing in their market is difficult to find deals. Difficult to, maybe there is a market they're interested in, but there's no one in that market in the community, right? So I think Pittsburgh is a sleeper market. There's a lot of opportunities there, but because we kind of do have a decent amount of people there, people are a little more comfortable jumping on there. And I think my one thing, and I'm in a chat with people that are from Gary, Indiana, investing, or not from, but I should say investing in Gary, Indiana. I don't know if you know about if you guys remember Mark Maskey Finance. So I'm in that WhatsApp chat also. But what I'm noticing is a lot of them, I wouldn't say they're regretting investing in Gary, Indiana. They are noticing that the tenant base is a lot more challenging. They are spending a lot more on the turns because of the amount of damage being done to their properties. I think Millennial Mike has touched on it too. Now that there's a lot of people investing there, they are having a harder time placing tenants, quicker because there's more rentals available or fixed up rentals available for the tenant base. So I think for me, Gary, Indiana can work. It's just maybe because it's a smaller market, because there was so much people jumping in that small market, they are having the resources are being tapped, where Pittsburgh, it's a little bit more of a, I guess you would say, bigger county or city, right? So you have more resources there. So even though if there is a decent, good amount of investors there, that there is more resources. So like Hyder mentions, Gary seems to be getting a bit more difficult. Hyder's may acquire a property in Erie, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So I think, Pittsburgh is definitely that sleeper area. And I think a lot of people are interested. And Flavio keeps giving me shit. He thinks Pittsburgh, he's going to need a vest to go walk around in Pittsburgh. But Flavio's a super good guy. But he mentioned earlier, I think to your question, Joe, he said $20K on a $200K property. I think that's what he's talking about. Um, Fla- Hyder, don't. He's telling Flavio softer plates for going to Pittsburgh. Frank says, seems like creative financing is something that enters people's minds when they run out of money for their next purchase. I don't think it's some. Oh, shoot, they moved. I don't think it's something that people think about in the beginning. Yeah.
Is that
Well,
a good segue for the live later today, Mark?
Oh, sorry, I didn't promote our live in a few hours. Joe is forcing me to do a live with him. Like, not forcing me, but we're gonna do a live with. I don't know if you folks, Aaron Amin. He's also in the school community. He's doing a lot of cool things. He's actually doing a residential assisted living facility. So that's going to be an interesting one. And Chris, I don't know how do you say his last name? Ionati.
Ionati, yeah.
Ionati, another Chicago Bears fan. So we got Curtis, me, Chris, all Chicago Bears fans. So it should be fun talking creative finance. But I think to Frank's point, right, it's just something to give you options. But, on that point that Frank talks about, and it's always been on my mind because there has been some deals that I've seen where seller financing is an option. But now, would you do a deal that had creative finance or seller financing options that was a good deal, I guess, numbers and paper wise, but let's say the property itself wasn't maybe I don't know if the right word would be my most ideal, maybe like maybe the property was older, or maybe the property didn't have the best layout, or maybe maybe even the parking situation was a little challenging. But as far from, you could get a great seller finance deal, or you could, there was creative options and the seller was open to it. So at what point, I guess, does do you or does the property always going to matter? Like I can't kind of get past that yet.
The
yeah,
property matters. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think that property matters, but because I'm still kind of in that growth mode, I also want the debt too. And so there's kind of a fine line that I have to have when in like growth mode is, does it have to check every criteria box for the property, or am I fine with like 8 out of 10 or 6 out, what line is there?
You had something you're going to say something, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, there's, if you've got a seller who's got a really low rate and you're coming to the table with cash and you're acquiring a property that's got a really low rate on it, okay, that's one thing. Another scenario that I've been coming across in my world a lot is for example, I've got a warehouse in Georgia that the seller's locked in on a price. It's probably worth less. But to be able to make the deal work, they're putting 30% down, and then the sellers are agreeing to do a 10% carry. So not a massive type of carry, just 10% on the back end. But that was enough to make the deal work for the buyer. Because if they would have needed to put 30% down, they wouldn't have done the deal. But if they're putting 20% down, they're going to do the deal now. So I mean that's 10% seller carry on the back end. That's a very simple thing. But if you're not even thinking about it or not aware of it as an option, that could be a deal killer. And that would have been a deal killer in this buyer-seller transaction. But because we have agents and lenders that know how this stuff works, we were able to save a deal. But it just depends on where we are. Is the seller going to create a new note because it's free and clear? Or is the buyer going to go get new financing and then do a seller carry in the back end? And then also, what's the exit strategy? Is there a value add play? Like I've got a mobile home park that seller is going to be doing a massive seller carry, $4 million North Carolina, do a $1 million seller carry. If the buyer wasn't experienced and also knew how to be able to do a value add on this, the deal would be a major risk. But because they've got experience and know how to increase rents dramatically on this, then, like you said, Curtis, get the debt, get the deal, because then you have the experience to do the value add. So it just depends.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you do a seller finance deal for the experience?
Just to do it, just to get.
Well, not just to do it. Like you're gonna cash flow. Like you're cash flowing a good amount. like I said, maybe the property itself has a little issues or is not, doesn't completely fit your buy box kind of thing and whatnot. But, the seller finance terms, it's going to cash flow day one.
Well, let's put it on you, Mark. Let me give you an example. So how many rentals do you have right now in Pittsburgh? 10?
12 right now.
You got 12. Okay. So you've already been through the game. You've already built your portfolio to a sizable level. Now, if a seller finance deal comes across your table, I've got a seller that's got 2 units, a couple of doors down the same street. They're going to do a seller financing. You can get into the deal with, 5% in, 10% in. You're going to cash flow, less than usual. 2 units out of 12, right? That's you mentioned it before, Mark. I mean, you're not here to take a lot of risks. You're comfortable. So 2 out of 12, that's a small percentage. If you don't have any rentals and you're going to do a seller financing and you don't have all that cash, taking on a huge risk just to get into the game, that's a different story than you doing it at this stage of your journey. So would you do a 2 deal seller finance right now?
I don't know. I think I would. I think I'm about acquiring assets. So that's kind of why I'm like, should I do it? Just to, and it's not to just do it, but you acquire the asset, you're cash flowing, right? And then now you have pieces to move at a later date, right? But you're not looking at it as a long-term piece in a sense in your portfolio. You're looking at it as it's giving you an opportunity right now because, like you say, maybe it's only 10% down right now or 10% in. It's cash flowing day one, right? And then now it's just giving you an asset to move at a later date to acquire something else, better that you may want. But it's just giving you an asset to work with. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Lars is tuning in. What's up, Lars? So Lars, if everyone doesn't know, he pivoted to Pittsburgh. He just closed on his deal a couple of days ago or maybe a week ago, but he closed on a duplex. So now he's finishing up with that.
Where is he from? Virginia? Where is he from?
So Lars is in, I think, Oregon. Is that or Washington or in that Pacific Northwest? He was investing in Delaware, but now he is pivoting towards Pittsburgh. So he just closed on his first duplex there. Say what's up to Josh Burdick tuning in, and he says, hope everyone's okay through the tornadoes yesterday. Sounds like it was pretty rough. Yeah, Frank said that was pretty rough in some areas, sounds like. And, Hyder did mention Pittsburgh a little bit earlier, or Erie, Pennsylvania. And Frank, who is in multiple markets, is kind of just remember, Hyder, you may not want to get into too many markets because Frank, that's through experience, right? I believe he's in 5 markets. So yeah, I always amazed at how Frank is doing it, but he has a lot of experience in that. Oh, Dylan's here. So thanks for tuning in. Dylan will be on, I forget already. Are you on Monday's live, Dylan? Can't keep track. I got like 3. I got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Yeah, I think you're on Monday. I forget. I don't even know who's on Monday.
How do you keep up with that?
Well, like I said, I'm not working right now, so it's a lot easier for me to commit to it. So that's why I'm trying to bang everything out now. But it gives me a lot of reels to use, and if I definitely have noticed me putting out the shorts on YouTube consistently now. The viewership count has jumped up. So I don't know if you guys saw, like just maybe a couple weeks ago, I put 95,000 views. Or whatever they send you that notification, right? Congratulations, you hit 95,000 views. Shoot, I'm at like 120 already, 120K, and a lot of that is because I'm putting out the shorts every day now consistently. I hate to admit it, Curtis's one is like the top 3, or there's one with Curtis on, it's like 1.8 thousand views on it or something, but it is one of the higher ones on there. But the view, so yeah, I got up to like 120 in 3-4 weeks, or what is that, 30,000 views in like 3 or 4 weeks. So the shorts are definitely helping that. So yeah.
So you got all this time on your hands. I might as well double down, do 2 a day. One at 9, one at 7.
Yeah, no, I've been putting 2 out recently because
Wow.
I've been doing so much lives that I'm getting a lot more content, so it's easier for me to. And that's also why I like to stream this way in this portrait mode, because it makes the editing a lot quicker.
Mm.
So that's also why I like, and it also appears on Instagram a lot better when it's in this portrait style. I know some people don't like it on the YouTube when it's streaming this way, but it definitely makes the editing a lot quicker. Um, yeah. Anything else you guys want to dig into? I gotta rest before my next live with Joe.
Well, shit, I got some work to do myself. I think next time I'd like to talk about the whole single life thing. Mark, how's single life going for you?
Well, I mean, it's not going much, but moving back in with my parents hasn't helped at all. But it's helped financially. So if you guys probably noticed, my background hasn't been the same for a while now. But I'm kind of doing the reverse. I guess Frank came up with the name. Was it Boomer House Hack? Maybe that's what it's called. But my parents are getting old. My dad almost started a fire again. He somehow threw a pen into the microwave when he was heating up his food.
A pen? Like a ink pen?
So so he's kind of paralyzed, right, on the right side, so he's very limited. So when he has this area where he sits to eat and watch TV, so his area is clustered. There's just cluster, but everything within reaching for him, so he has a lot of stuff there. But I think he had a plate, so he uses a lot of paper plates because he just throws it away, but he had a paper plate, and I think he had a pen on it, and for whatever reason he put another plate on top of it to go heat up his food. So I think he put 2 paper plates in there, but the one underneath had a pen and he didn't know. And I'm assuming it caught fire because I came home and I could smell something and I was like, what the hell is that smell? And I didn't realize it. But then my mom walks into the kitchen and I guess he tried to, so there's all black, like soot and shit in the sink. And like there's like all these ink stains on the rubbish can. There's all these pen, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But yes, I guess the pen must have caught on fire, and he took it to the sink to rinse it off. But yeah, so that's another reason why I've moved back home, help out. Every day there's like doctor's appointments I gotta drive them to and whatnot, and but I'm renting out my house, which has been definitely financially beneficial for me. My tenants are moving out. They're only there for like 6 months because their daughter got into college in San Diego, so they're going to relocate. And I told them, hey, you guys are on the lease for whatever amount of time. But I was like, I don't think it's going to be a problem. And yeah, so I have a new tenant already moving in as soon as they move out. But this person like flew in from San Francisco, wanted to check out so I listed it, and this person's like, hey, I'm going to fly in from San Francisco to see the unit. This person used to live in Hawaii. They're going to do remote working and things. So they want to come back here. So I knew, well, I wasn't home. I came home and I knew it was like it smoked. That's how I was like, what's going on in here? But a harsh reality. Good morning. Frank says cash flow over females. Harsh reality. A good woman stands by her man's side during bad times, just to tell him that none of this would have happened if he had listened to her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This story is worthy of its own short. I know, man. And every time my dad, he was trying to hide it too. He wouldn't tell me what happened. But like I said, he's also handy or paralyzed, right? So I was teasing him. I was like, man, I would have loved to see you trying to hobble to the sink to, if the thing was on fire, right? Like trying to, I mean, good thing we can laugh about it now, but those are the kind of things I'm concerned with now, right? Like he's getting old, right? And then
Go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna just say the other thing too, man. So my mom is kind of deaf, so she needs a hearing aid, and he doesn't speak very clearly because of his stroke. So it's like when I'm driving them to their doctor's appointment, they're trying to talk to each other. It is just insane. Like my dad's trying to say something, my mom can't hear. So she's like, "What? What are you saying?" And he's like, "I told you this and this." And so he starts yelling, and she can't. And I was like, "Oh." But yeah, I gotta record. I should record that one day in the ride to the.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, that was our fun story for the day.
Yo,
Take
microwaves. My 5-year-old likes to make his own hot chocolate and pull the little stools around and get all the things out. And then one day, because I got 2 of them, right? So they're in different areas causing havoc. And then the one puts, microwave popcorn into the microwave, and then gets distracted and then goes somewhere else, and the thing's just going. I had no idea what was going on. It just pushed the button, just going, and the whole house smells like burnt popcorn for a week. It's just horrible. So yeah, I get the whole microwave thing.
Yeah, the other time he put in one of those, I think he put in his Simon thing, his ramen thing with no water in it.
Nice.
The damn thing caught on for the whole house was smoke, and my mom walks in so she doesn't know, right? So she comes out of her room and like, what? There's like smoke everywhere, and my dad's like, oh, nothing. He's trying to sit there like nothing happened. He's trying to watch TV. It's like, because yeah. But yeah, Frank says Van. Oh yeah, if you guys haven't seen, I haven't seen recently, but he has his Van Confessions, so go check that out. Yeah, old guy REI. But yeah, this was a fun one. I mean, if there's anything else you guys want to wrap things up with, any other last comments, maybe like I said, if there's a shout out to someone that has helped you that you want to give them some credit. I mean, like I said, I know Curtis, you'll probably say Dion and all that, but if there's someone that no one really knows about, maybe that they should be following or whatnot, if you want to give a shout out to someone else.
No, most of the people I would, they don't even have social media. Like Mark, the landlord I have, there's no way he's gonna ever see this.
Well, you can make a reel with it and send it to him and say, look, I gave you a shout out, and I'll take a property seller finance from you or something. Joel, for you, I know that you're killing it. Good to have you back on, man. It's been a while. You showed up on time. Like I said, you showed up before Curtis, so I was amazed.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to give anyone a shout out? Tune into our live later, right?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Mark Oshiro. Look at this guy. He's just doing his thing, pulling people together. Got that charisma. I just want to give a shout out to Mark because dude doesn't have a pulse. He just flat lines. He just brings people together. So it's good stuff.
Are you making a joke, Flavio? Life is short. Like, I mean, not a joke, but are you saying something about my height or something? But to that point, before we wrap things up, I don't know if you guys weren't here. I talked about it quickly yesterday. To Flavio's point, on a serious note, though, life is short. I don't know if you guys follow Invest for More on social media, YouTube, kind of a big YouTube following. He suddenly passed away. He had blood clots in his lungs. So the wife has been posting on his social media platform, kind of telling people what happened, kind of the unfortunate incident. So like Flavio said, life is short, right? You don't know, tomorrow's not guaranteed. And I think I touched on it the other live that that guy, Mark Ferguson, Invest for More. He was, I mean, I he enjoyed what he was doing, but he was making a lot of money. So he kept doing what he was doing. And I'm sure he was taking time to enjoy himself, but to just keep that reminder, everyone, what is your enough, and make sure you do find that time to enjoy life, right? Because like we said, tomorrow's not guaranteed, and make sure you have fun, spend time with your family. Like Flavio said, enjoy your parents, enjoy your kids, whatnot, have fun with them, and don't take life too seriously, everyone. Just have some fun, and keep striving, everyone. Strive for 25, right, Joel?
That's right.
All right. Tune in. A couple more hours. We'll be going live again with Joe, Aaron, and Chris. And that'll be a fun one too, I'm sure. But thanks, Curtis. Thanks, Joe. And we'll do this again. Thanks, everyone.
Good stuff.